Hi everyone, and welcome to another very special edition of Insights with Krisnan. But today is a different style. Krisnan is being interviewed.
That's right.
And my name is Taahir Bulbulia, and this is going to be a very exciting edition. Let's jump straight into it, Krisnan. Tell the people, who is Krisnan Hurdle?
Alright, so I am a Barbadian. I am I'm in my middle 30s. I've done lots of things, but I see myself as a principled person. I like to operate by principles. I recognize that we are not only what we see in the eye. So I believe in building the spirit, building the mind, and developing and nurturing all parts of ourselves. So I am, as you say, multidimensional, but I guess in terms of qualifications, I am a therapist, certified life coach. Also, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I think my job is to help people to be their best selves.
Yeah, that's very important in this time, how people can become their best selves. We often see Krisnan, the counselor, Krisnan involved in mental health. But what are some of the things you like to do outside of your professional realm?
Yeah, well, I love to go to the beach. I spend a lot of time at the beach. Of course, some people would know me as...
Which is your favorite beach?
Pebbles.
Pebbles.
Pebbles,
so
yes.
If you like Pebbles, put it in the comments.
Yes, and I go to Pebbles probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Nice.
I used to play cricket. I am not as avid a cricket fan as I used to be when I was playing, but I still have a very serious interest in cricket. I spend a lot of time listening to music. I used to play drums. I don't play as much as I used to either, but I do love music. My favorite genre right now is Afrobeats.
Nice.
Big up to Davido. And what else do I do? Oh, now beginning to get into movies. I wasn't a big movie fan, but now beginning to get into movies as well. And a good line. Love spending time with friends.
Nice. Any particular movie?
Well, last night I watched The Flash. I like action.
Nice.
I like action. Last night I watched The Flash. I kind of like the Marvel movies.
Okay.
Those things, heroes and that kind of stuff.
Any particular reason?
I like action. I like action. I like to see how a hero saves the day. I like to see people tapping into their powers, really. So that's probably something that has leaned into my work,
right.
Helping people to tap into their powers and into their capabilities.
Become the best hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Krisnan, I would have known you for the cricketing round when you had your cricketing hat on. And I don't know if you knew, but Krisnan was a junior national cricketer as well. You got big up yourself for that as well, Krisnan.
Yeah, it's true.
Top batsman. Then you went to the Commerce School, up and on persons.
Yes.
What would you have learned from the cricketing space that you would have brought in now to the psychology space, the counseling space, the life coaching? Because obviously, people see sports, but they don't realize the psychology and the mental work that has to go into sports. So take me back to that and your journey of transformation there, coming in now to this space. What was some lessons learned and that journey for you?
I think any field of endeavor, I guess we call it a discipline, actually requires discipline. Right. And it is a metaphor for life. So getting to places on time, how we focus and discipline ourselves and manage our resources, what we do when we're in adversity or adverse situations, how we get along with people, working with teammates. So those are a lot of skills, interpersonal skills, I would have learned as well. But more specifically, coming into mental health, then is a matter of how do we focus, how do we concentrate, how do we tune out the noises? Because in regular life, may not be into mental health, but you've got family members, you've got co-workers, their voices and noises out there seeking to get our attention and pull us away from our center. Right. So it's important to be able to focus, and it's important to be able to discipline ourselves to reach whatever goal we have.
Right, that is key. That is very, very key. That was a lesson I had to learn kind of the hard way. Coming from sports, obviously playing, when you get on the field of play, all of us on one mission and one goal.
Yeah.
And then when I went into another hat, more in the political side of things, when I was on the guild at UE and stuff like that, for me that was a challenge, because I know when we go onto the field of play, we all on one page to win, to do good for everybody.
Right.
But then in that space, everybody now focuses on the individual self.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's a societal problem that we have, where when adversity comes, we focus on individual self. How would you encourage persons to more focus on the common good?
I think first of all, we have to individually, we have to think strategically. We have to look long term and be able to see the bigger picture. So these are all lessons that that I do apply, but I would have learned in the journey with cricket and beyond. Seeing the bigger picture, so that although we have our individual agendas and goals, we realize that we can't do it alone. We need other people, and it's best to try our best to engage them and involve them in a way that works with us and for us. Being able to get along with people is a very important skill. People skills, very important, and the ability to kind of to wow people in, to draw them in and to influence them, not only to get what you want out of the situation, but if you can mutually benefit, then it is win-win, and the person you're working with or trying to get to pull in, to draw in, they see themselves as being more committed to whatever the task is. So it's really about seeing the bigger picture and thinking long-term and strategically.
I'm loving this conversation, because there's a lot of words of wisdom. I think a lot of people should benefit from conversations like these. So Krisnan, where did you study, and where did you get your, I think you did your master's overseas?
I did
Where
it.
did you study, and how was that experience leaving your home island? Share with the people, because I think a lot of young people like to hear stories like that, man.
Right, so I studied in Wales, University of South Wales in Wales, United Kingdom.
Nice.
It was a very interesting year.
Cool.
It was cold, definitely colder than Barbados. While I was there, I only experienced snow for half hour.
Wow.
So only half hour snow, but it's definitely colder. What I learned is managing your resources, managing your money, managing your time. Obviously, meeting people and getting along with people, very, very important. I also obviously had to be able to focus on the work, because you have to balance whatever social activities you're doing. Obviously, you don't have the same environment which might be pushing you on and spurring you on close to you. So you have to remember to stay focused on what the primary goal is. But it was a real good time being away from home and developing independence.
Nice.
Well, there I met a number of colleagues, and which are now friends.
Nice.
There's Noel from India.
Nice.
He's now doing his PhD. I was actually in a group of international students. There were 10 of us.
Nice.
We call ourselves the Trees. The trees.
The trees.
Yeah.
Like the trees and outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we were diverse, and there were lots of leaves, so to speak. So there were persons from Nigeria, Guyana, Pakistan, South Africa. It was from Barbados. And we all came together as a unit, as a team, so to speak, as we were doing our group projects and going out together. Unfortunately, while it was there, COVID started. So we didn't get to, after February, we didn't really get to do much socializing together. But I recently went back to the UK for a short trip, and I was able to meet up with Noel.
Nice.
So actually you would have seen Noel in one of my previous videos when I was looking at phobias.
Yes.
I did that video with him recently.
Nice. That's good. You know, they often say you grow out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Was leaving Barbados ever a fear for you? And then when you got to Wales and that growth that you would have done out there, talk us through that process, man, and for any person out there that may be thinking to study or...
Well, for me, I was looking forward to moving.
Nice.
I was looking forward to leaving because I felt like I wanted to see the world. Many people living in Barbados, they think that what they've experienced, their experience of Barbados is the world, is their world. But there are many diverse nationalities, races, cultures, practices in different countries, and I was really eager to go out there and see what the world had to offer. So I wasn't nervous at all. I was quite excited. And while there, I tried different foods.
Nice. What was your favorite food that you did?
I really enjoyed, so there was the kebabs and the doner wraps.
Nice.
I really enjoyed the kebabs and the doner wraps. And there are lots of small food shops whose food,
The chicken shops.
yeah, chicken shops and stuff.
If you go to England or Wales, go to the chicken shops.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do. That's
Sure.
the best food.
Yeah, and you think that, you know, the KFCs, etc., they got the good food. A lot of these small shops got some really good food.
I think they're cheaper too.
Yeah, they are actually. Over there, of course, in England, in the UK, food is
Yeah.
a lot cheaper than Barbados anyway. So I was able to try different things. Had there's scones, Welsh scones, and I tried some food from Pakistan. I can't. The name is slipping me right now. But there's a kind of, we have our like palo.
Biryani.
Yes, that's it. And they have their biryani. So I really enjoyed
They call that
biryani.
Indian fellow.
Right.
And then on the flip side, they say the Bajan biryani.
Right.
Understand?
Here we go. Yes, you would know it. You would know Taahir. So yeah, that's what I really enjoyed that.
Yes. You would have mentioned, Krisnan, that COVID would have hit while you were there. I guess you had to readjust your plans, readjust your expectations, just like all of us.
Right.
How was that for you, mentally, emotionally, and then having to balance life on your own and then the schoolwork as well and everything else that came along with it?
That was probably the greatest challenge over there because we weren't able to go out. The lockdown in the UK was a lot stricter, where you were only allowed to go to it for about nearly 2 months, only to emergency or necessary travel, which meant if school soon shut, so there was no going to school, you could only go to the supermarket once. Well, they were saying that you could only leave home once a day, whether it's exercising, supermarket. So there was leaving home if you needed to leave home, and for the most part, you didn't have anywhere else to go. So you were really isolated. And because I was staying in a flat, you were in your own little room, in your own little world, and then you had work to do, you had your group projects to finish online, you attended your classes virtually, and then I started my thesis, and I did a research thesis, which involved interviews. So there were lots of challenges. I think the greatest part was the isolation, not being able to go out and you could take your mind off the work, but you're always still confined to the area. So going out and spreading your wings and spreading your mind, taking your attention to other things was a great challenge. But I was able to finish everything. I did my thesis, successfully completed, and when I left there, I left Wales and I went for 2 months by my cousin in the UK because I actually missed my first flight from England. My initial flight, I missed it because I couldn't get out of Wales to the UK to England. So I missed it, and then I spent 2 months with my cousin. It was wonderful because we were able to catch up and we were able to go again.
Nice.
So that was lovely.
Nice. That's really good, and I'm sure you would have enjoyed that experience, and it was something new for you. Bringing it back home now, I know you were in the counseling space, life coaching. How has that experience been for you now, coming back home to Barbados after you got any masters? And congratulations again.
Thank you.
I think that's a very big achievement.
Thank you.
How was that experience for you as well?
It's something that I've been doing, counseling and coaching for a few years since 2016. But coming back, there were challenges because it left the stringent lockdowns from the UK, and then as we turned the late 2020 into 2021, Barbados had its lockdowns. So then what I thought, I was thinking coming home and pushing business and getting into the thick of things, freeing up, then we had our challenges here. So there was that. I did an internship during lockdowns. There were isolation protocols at the institution, and lots of things were limited. And while there was a need for mental health services, people were short on money and faced different types of challenges. Privacy at home is also a challenge. So it was difficult getting used to. Really, really happy to be back out and about for things to be opened up again. But getting back into the market here, you realize that people are not as open-minded. People are not as open to mental health as, even though there's the push for it, there's the advocacy for it in our society now, especially after COVID. There's still not the openness that they should be, that they ought to be.
How do you think we get there though? We know there's a problem. How do you think we can get there? What from where Krisnan sits?
I think we need a lot more advocacy. We also find that mental health practitioners tend to operate in their little silos, and there isn't enough getting together. We also find that a lot of things, unfortunately, are politicized, and they're not necessarily in the best interest of people. Recently, as of the shooting of this video, we've had recent suicides in Barbados. And one of the things is it's easy to see the symptom and to address the symptom, but to go deeper when we're looking at things like poverty and parenting, financial challenges, these are the things that actually do intervene or contribute to the problem. And if we are just going to seek to apply a plaster, because it's actually easy to go to therapy, but to deal with those things we just mentioned, family issues, parenting issues, how to deal with peer pressure and dealing with social interaction and relationships, that's where the real work has to go.
Correct. So what would be some interventions that you would place if you had the opportunity to sit in the position? What would be some interventions you would do from the schools, community, right up to the top, as in policy, advocacy, whatever the case is?
I think we need to do have a better outreach in the community in terms of parenting. We also need to start to approach the topic of mental health and being open to getting help from the primary school level. Now, many don't realize this, but back in years ago, back before, in societies past, we had the family, we had the community, we had the tribe, and there wasn't so much of a need for therapists because there was your uncles, your aunts, your elders, and you can go to the priest or the head person in the tribe. You can go to the elders and get help. In today's society, because we are so individualistic, we need outside or external support systems. So helping people to getting back to community is important. Also helping people to see the importance of reaching out for help from a young age. They're going to need to be able to be comfortable reaching out for help. Of course, we also have to be confidential. Professionals need to be confidential and not, share information. But starting at primary school, I also admire the work done by Let's Unpack It. They're an organization seeking to bring together mental health services and focusing on youth and mental health. So having those types of agencies and hubs where we can bring together resources. And then I believe a lot in marketing, and I think that mental health professionals have to find creative ways of reaching out to the public. So that's what videos like this are trying to do, to really reach out to people in less traditional ways, get away from people coming to us and going to the community.
Big up Chelsea and David from Let's Unpack It.
Yes.
Chelsea was my schoolmate.
Nice.
And I'm glad you mentioned creative ways, and meeting the people where they're at. And you touched on a few very, very critical points there, where I think we've gone back into the more individualistic thing. Like when you go to an older person and seeking help, you ain't got no stress, don't come to me. That's not my problem. No. That's oftentimes what you think. Man, you got good. You got everything. You got everything material, so you should be good. I want to touch on the creative ways now. How do you think wholesome activities like the arts, culture, sports, how activities like this help mental health?
Well, first of all, we can intentionally seek to engage people at the level of mental health even in these activities.
Right.
So bringing in a counselor, bringing in a therapist to help to talk to the persons in the group
Yes.
would be a good idea, or to have these services available if people need them.
Yeah.
I think we also have to, and I've reached out to different teams in Barbados, sports teams, seeking to address, the mental aspect.
Yeah.
But in terms of creative ways, music is very important, very powerful. Art, from drawing, writing, again, music, seeking to engage in artful ways of coaching,
Yes.
in sports or in dancing,
Yeah.
being creative within the arts themselves. Also, I think it's important to help people to see that they're not one-dimensional.
Right.
So even within each art, help them to realize that they're more than just a financial being.
Yes.
To realize that they have emotions, to realize that they have a spirit,
Right.
and there are more to them than meets the body, that meets the eye. So it's important to address those, and really engaging or speaking to people about what's on their mind. Simple things also make a difference. So having like debriefing sessions, having mindfulness sessions, doing visualizations, letting members of a team or group share about how they experience their training session or their practice session, engaging them in doing journaling, and of course using the arts themselves to go out into the community, whether it's the music, the sports, the dance, going out into the community and kind of like being community based. So those communities in the earshot of the where the sport is played or where the club is based, reaching out to the members around.
And I think those are very pertinent points. And I think we could package those and share them as well with the teams. You said you've been in this counseling space for about 7 years now, since 2016. What's the biggest lesson you've learned for yourself, one, but then from also helping people and bringing people?
I think the biggest lesson I have learned is, as a therapist, you have your own work to do as well. As a therapist, it doesn't make you bigger than your clients, it doesn't make you better than your clients, it doesn't make you exempt from the issues that happen in society. And while you are helping others and reaching out to others, you also need to take care of yourself, engage in self-care, thought, reflection, and having that other person, having that support system you can reach out to. That's probably one of the biggest things. A second thing would also be, there are people who are very, very good with their skill, with their particular field of endeavor, but it's important to balance the skill with the other aspects of business, like marketing and finances. So don't only focus on the skill, don't only focus on turning up on the job, but also focus on the back office things, like finances and marketing. Those help to build the business just as much as having the skills. And then for others, for clients, I think realizing that everybody has feelings, and sometimes we don't understand the deeper motive behind it. When a person can unpack and unravel the deeper motive behind what they're going through, we realize that trauma and fear is probably the greatest two motivators behind all of people's dysfunction. Being afraid and being overwhelmed. So being able to manage trauma and fear is very, very important as far as most therapy is concerned. So deal with your traumas, deal with your fears, because it does impact on everything. Managers tend to respond and see the world, see their workers to the extent that they are able to grasp and stay on top and stay in control of their own emotions, get over and manage their own fears and their own traumas. Sports people, they're able to perform and tap into their potential and sports and arts, they're able to tap into their potential to the extent that they're able to push past their fears and their traumas.
Right.
So I think dealing with traumas and fears is probably the core issue that we need to address.
Fears and trauma.
Yeah.
I think it's not just surface level, as you said. We have the generational trauma that have been passed down.
Correct.
That has to be addressed. The colonial trauma that our forefathers endured as well.
Yeah.
And then the trauma we face in today's world.
Correct.
You know, so there's so much that, as you said, we have to unpack.
Yeah.
Not just as a people, but as a society as well.
Correct.
Two final questions. Time is coming to end. I think this conversation could go on for another hour. What is the most enjoyable thing for Krisnan in doing this thing, man?
I love to see my clients getting results. I love to see my clients being transformed. I think the root or the deeper motivation behind all I do is freedom, helping people to reach freedom. Whether they're coming for therapy, coaching, trauma work, hypnosis, whatever they're coming for, even in terms of having less pain in childbirth, having a more comfortable childbirth, is really about getting freedom. So seeing them make progress, seeing them reach different levels of freedom and fulfillment, and being able to tap into things or do things that they couldn't do before, that is the most fulfilling, the most enjoyable thing. And even as I go into this, the realm of sex coaching and that kind of thing, help seeing clients and couples being able to do things that they couldn't do before and experience things that they couldn't experience before. Freedom is an amazing thing. So that gives me my life.
That's good, man. That's good. Has anyone ever told you you're a man, you don't know nothing about giving childbirth? Has anyone ever told you that?
Yes, I've been told that by women. I don't know what it's like. I've been told that by doctors, and I've even been told by older clients that, you know, I'm too young to be telling people about life. You're too young, Krisnan. You don't know about life. So I've been told that, you know, I can't speak of what I don't know. But I also don't have panic attacks. I also don't have clinical depression. I also don't have the extent of trauma that some of my clients have. It's really about understanding the principles, understanding the mechanisms and the mechanics of how the things work, and then you can solve the equation and you can apply it to the person's situation.
We're coming to the end now of this exciting discussion. So many points. Got to know you a lot better, Krisnan. But two final questions. Over the last 2 weeks in Barbados, we've had about 4 suicides. But last year, we've seen an increase as well. What message would you share with anybody out there that's thinking to commit suicide?
This is a real hard thing. I have personally worked with a few persons who have I've worked with a number of people who have considered. I've also worked with a number of families of persons who have committed suicide. Mothers and family members and that kind of thing. So I've seen it in my world, in my office. It's hard to really understand it from the outside. And I understand that there's a lot of reasons, there are different reasons why someone might do that. It's not one thing. Some people might have clinical depression. They may definitely feel hopeless because it feels like nothing is working out for them. Financial pressure, peer pressure, not being understood by family members and people around you, not feeling like there's any hope, broken relationships. You know, there are lots of different reasons. I'd say that a moment in time is not the end of the world. A moment in time is not the end of the world, and while everybody might not be able to understand your situation, what you want is to be understood, and what you want is some hope. I posted 3 things recently: appreciate yourself, celebrate yourself, and understand yourself. So I definitely encourage persons to think about reaching out for help, think about speaking to someone, and definitely find a safe space. A safe space means some place where you're not going to be judged. It's a place where you are going to be understood, where you feel comfortable, where it's going to be confidential, where your information is not going to get out. So find the same safe space, and where specific to the situation that you're going through, it's financial challenges or maybe a broken relationship, perhaps go to the right place where you can have that problem resolved, or seek help to get that specific problem resolved. It's not a cookie cutter approach. It's not a one size fits all. If you need help financially, reach out to those who might be able to do that. If you need help with emotions, if you need mental health support, go to the appropriate persons. So by no means do we say for all problems going to a therapist or a psychologist will help the problem or resolve the problem. If you can, go to that direct person. And I like to say this to parents and to family members. One of the biggest challenges that people have is not being understood. And I know that, I remember as a teenager that a lot of teenagers really struggle with not being understood because they felt as though parents didn't get them, they don't understand them, and they don't care about their feelings. And we have to realize that we need more than financial provision, and some of the callous things that we say don't serve or don't do our children any benefit. So I'd say seek to really understand them, seek to understand them before you try to get your position over, and lend that ear. You want to speak to someone and have them say, I think you understand them. When they get to the place where they say, I think you understand me, I think you get my point, then you've reached a good place. You've reached you've opened a door. Yeah. So I'd leave that with people to in response to the suicide.
And finally, anything else you think the people need to know about Krisnan? Anything else you want to say?
Well, I like a good laugh. When you work with me, I like to enjoy myself. So I like moments is very important. And when you come, if a person comes to work with me, it's not going to be heavy stuff. I try not to focus on the heavy stuff too much. There is a time where you have to deal with the heavy stuff, but lighten the atmosphere. Seek to make things enjoyable. Yes. Make things enjoyable, and people, we can laugh about things. One of my trainers used to say, if we are going to be trapped in seriosity, then we're going to have big problems. Oh. So seek to say that again. If we're going to be trapped in seriosity, one of the big problems we're going to have is seriosity. So seek to lighten up this place, and we can have a good time. Life can be a lot easier. Yes.
So you heard it from Krisnan. Heard it from Krisnan Hurdle, and I just want to thank him for giving me the opportunity to do this interview. I've known Krisnan for about 8 years now. 20, probably no longer.
Longer than that,
10 years, probably 2013. I mean, I know him when he used to play cricket. He was definitely a mentor for me, coming into a young cricket team then and playing with a bunch of older people. I remember partnering with him at Commonwealth School in intermediate cricket, where he won the game for us. I think he scored about 80 odd, and
he
had a partnership.
Yes, I remember.
And it was good from then, and then seeing him transforming his journey, and then coming to him, you know, as a young man, needing to unpack it, as he said, unpack some issues that I would have had, and you would have certainly helped me and played a significant role in my journey for sure as a young person coming up. So I just want to encourage anybody out there who may need help, just take this step, you know, take this step. It's going to benefit you, because at the end of the day, if you don't put in the work for yourself, if you don't face your challenges, if you don't face them head on, they're going to continue haunting you. And as a person to my right once told me, that until you deal with an issue, it's going to keep coming up and coming up and coming up and coming up. And then when you deal with it, it's going to go away. And that for me has stuck with me for a while. So I'm grateful to Krisnan. I would encourage you that if anybody out there listening to it, watching the interview, just give him a call, give him a ring, and he'll make himself available, you know. And take that step. take that step. And I just want to share with anyone, if you're thinking to commit suicide, as Krisnan said, reach out. And remember, people, it's on the other side of the coin. No one will come to you and say, I'm gonna commit suicide. They're gonna come and ask for help in different ways, you know? So you just try to help somebody and hold somebody's hand and take them along on that journey, you know? And with that, we've come to the end of another episode. I think, as I said, I think we could have continued for another hour. So time really flies when you're enjoying yourself, man. But another episode with Insights with Krisnan. I think we got an insight from Krisnan this time. Not insights with Krisnan, we got insight from Krisnan, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. Until next time, my name is Taahir Bulbulia. Until next episode, or until you see me again, maybe I'll be in the next year next time. But God bless, and until next time, be safe. Remember to subscribe and put some likes and comments in the chat and share it with a friend, to another friend, and to the sister and your family and the chicken on the outside. Cheers.